Mm-mm. All right, everyone see that slide? It should say why everyone should have a home-based business. Everyone see that? I hope. Raise your hand if you do. I can't see everybody, but I'm going to assume everyone does see that. How many people do have a home-based business? So if you do have a home-based business, you can also just put in the chat that you have a home-based business that you're working out of the home. So there's my name. So I am a CPA, a CMA, which is a certified management accountant. And you might be asking, what the heck is a LLQP? And a couple of people in the room probably already do know because they are one. LLQ means that I'm also a licensed financial advisor. So I'm licensed and I primarily focus on insurance. But I could do mutual funds if I really wanted to. I partner with a gentleman in the room named Nick, and Nick is a living benefits specialist. So it's great that we don't try and do everything for everybody, but we know people, and that's why I love working with clients, because we bring in people like corporate lawyers, we bring in living benefits specialists, we bring in investment specialists, and then I focus on the tax piece of it. All right, let's get to it. If you are in direct sales, I do a presentation to say it's the best recruiting advice because so many people love the product. I love the product. I drank some of the product this morning with USANA. I drink a USANA shake like twice a week, and I love the product. And lots of people love the product already, so they're just doing it as a customer. And we show them, well, you don't even have to make the commission. You don't have to. Lots of people don't like selling. How many people like love selling? If you love selling, just type in the comments "selling" and we'll sell you something, or you can sell something to me. I didn't love selling. I wasn't very good at it, but then you realize selling is just being of service. You have products that you love. Don't worry, we're not going to selling today, but what happens is we just show people like you're already buying the product. Why not just market it a little bit, and then you can make all your everyday expenses tax deductible. And that's what I'm going to show you today. That's why having a job, because here you are, you're the average Canadian. The average Canadian, you're earning about $75,000 in income. It's really cool. I was doing some house cleaning yesterday, and I found how many people have like lots of paper? Anyone keep like lots of paper? If you keep lots of paper, just type in help. Seriously, type in help. I have a little PDF I'll send you to help get organized with paper. So if you type in help into the comments, I'll send you the PDF on how to get it. So I found my original job offer right out of university in 1997, my original job letter. I worked with a company called Soul Corp. We were a software for insurance companies. I'll tell you, I'll give a prize. Okay, here's the deal. Where's the book? All right. I was gonna give one of these books away today anyway. So here's the book. It's my colleague, Doug Collins. He wrote this book about how to write off almost everything. I know it's literally blurry, you can't read it, but don't worry, paperback copy. I'm gonna send whoever can guess. So in the comments, you have to guess. So I graduated with an honors degree in mathematics and management accounting. And I got my accounting designation in 1997. I know that's probably sometimes that people are like, I wasn't even born then. I don't know if there's anyone in the room that's that young, but someone told me the other day that they weren't born yet when I was started university. Okay, so if you can guess the person, no Price is Right rules. So we're not going to use the Price is Right rules. Oh, I'm going to select Betty in here. So 1 second. All right, so I'm going to wait till Betty gets here. She's a longtime supporter, so I'm going to give her an opportunity. But I'll give you a minute to kind of calculate your answer. So you're going to guess in the comments. You got to type in the comments, closest person to guess my annual salary when I started my first corporate job in 1997. All right. Okay, so while you're thinking about that, welcome Betty. Look at people are putting in the chat. So just Betty, I have this book, going to give it away. It's how to write off everything. You just have to guess what my starting salary was in 1997. I was hired as a financial analyst. It's like on the way up to becoming a controller, but it's like the entry-level job. I was doing bank reconciliations. Really great. First job, I got to reconcile bank accounts, all those things. All those things that they let the beginning person do. Welcome, Betty. All right, so if you type in the chat what my starting salary was, the whoever's the closest, don't worry if you can go over or under. So not Price is Right rules. You know, if you go over, it doesn't count. So it doesn't really matter. So over or under, whoever's the closest, you're going to win the book. All right, let's get on to the presentation because you're like, enough fun time stuff. All right, so really quick on this line is, if you paid 75, if you earned 75,000, means you paid $10,000 of income tax. Oh my God, that's so much income tax, right? You're like, potential refund though, treat it like that. It makes it so much sound so much more exciting that that's my potential refund. Everyone ever thought of it that way? That's my potential refund. People are still coming today. That's all right. We'll let that person in. All right. And you're like, how do I get that? How do I get that, some of that money back? I want to know. Well, here you go. What is a tax deductible business expense? That's what everyone's like. Finally, half an hour into the show. Well, Frank just joined us. So Frank's lucky he just got here. So welcome, Frank. Thanks for coming. Don't worry, I recorded today. So if you want to hear the first half hour and you're like, he's just getting to the good stuff now. All right, so what is tax deductible? So it goes back to any expense incurred for the purpose of gaining and producing income. So the person I said that she's an engineer, she's doing social media. So welcome. And she has a cell phone, but in her engineering job, her cell phone is not a tax deductible expense. But in her social media business, it is. And she may not even, I don't have a customer yet. Does it say you need a customer? Somebody tell me, like, on that first thing, any expense incurred for the purpose of gaining and producing income, does it say you have to have a customer? Anywhere on this slide, does it say you have to have a customer? Someone just type in no, please. Just yeah, because those other people are like, I don't know. No, you don't. You don't need any customers. Because guess what? CRA understands that you have startup costs. Just be reasonable. That's number 3. Incurred with a reasonable expectation of resulting in future income. Do you plan on getting a customer? Deborah, welcome. So Deborah, you're a financial advisor, right? When you started the business, did you have a customer?
No, but my daughter became one quite quickly.
Right. My girlfriend, we've been together for 7 years. She was my very first insurance sale. You need family members if you're getting into business. That's why network marketing is like, hey, just go sell to your friends and neighbors. And you're like, but then my friends and neighbors don't invite me to Thanksgiving anymore because I'm always selling to them. No, just share. Just share. I'll give you some strategies on how to sell, how to sell by sharing. Sharing's caring. So my girlfriend became, and I was with London Life for my first 2 years. And I think she was like pretty much my only sale. And I didn't last there very long because they're like, come on, you got to sell more than someone could say, well, just go get another girlfriend. No, that's not a good strategy. I do have an ex-wife, but she was already insured. Okay. So reasonable expectation. Deborah, you got through, you got your LLQP, you got all that stuff. You put in a lot of work. CLU even. Wow, that's I keep thinking about that someday, but I like what I do.
Well, you already have your CPA, so
I know you just need you just need some letters after your name. It just makes you look important. I'll tell you, there's one of the 4 personalities. 1 in 4 people respect that, and they're called blueprint people because they like to see credentials. If I unblurred my background here, you could see my degree on the wall, and you could see my CMA. My CPA is somewhere in a drawer, not framed yet. Okay, enough about me. All right, is reasonable under the circumstances. So here's what one of my clients did. So she's a new client. So she was in a corporate job. She's doing HR or something. So she makes about $120,000 a year. Don't worry, you don't know her, so I'm not going to tell her your name. She's making about 120. So she started a coaching business. She's going to get into life coaching. And her plan was to actually quit her corporate job, which she actually did this year. Not based on my recommendations, but it's your choice, right? I said, just hang in there a little bit longer. But for family reasons and homeschool and all this other stuff, her husband is a realtor and he's doing quite well. So she quit her job. But last year she was still working. 120,000. So she paid more than $10,000 in income tax, right? Because we said at 75, she's paying 10. At 120, she probably paid about 15, 18, almost $20,000 income tax. So she had some business startup expenses. She spent about between $5 and $8 grand on getting a website. I highly unrecommend. I do not recommend you go do that. I'll tell you a strategy about how I make sales every day without any website. No website needed at all. Just go get a customer. No one's going to some people say, oh, can you go to my website? I want to see your accounting services. No one said that ever. No one's going. And if you are, I don't really care. I don't need you as a client. No, I want you as a client. You're here. You came here and I had no website. Did you go to a website to come to this event today? Did anyone go to a website? Did you go to my personal website before you came today? Look at, there's 24 people in the room today. No website.
No.
No website. You could have found one. Doesn't work very well right now. Okay, so reasonable. So your car, you need your car, but no one said you need a Maserati. You don't need a Lamborghini. You can have one, but that's not necessarily all tax deductible. All right, let's keep going on this. All right, here we go. So here's some people like math. So I can tell the math in the head. Some people want to see it written down. So this is what I said, 50%, cell phone, $100 times 12 months divided by 2, $600. $600 tax deduction. Who knows the difference between a deduction and a credit? Anyone do their own taxes? Yeah, I usually ask that question at the beginning. Who does their own taxes? Me. Just type in, if you do your own taxes, that's okay. You just didn't meet me before. Other than Maria. Maria is actually a bookkeeper. That's about the only person in the room that should be saying me. But how many people do their own taxes? It's okay. Just type in the comments me. It's okay. You didn't know, you just met me, maybe. It's okay. All right. My other accountants are so boring. Why? But this guy's interesting. All right. So 50% of my home internet, $80, $480. Annual car. How many people have a car? You have a car? Type in the chat car if you have a car. And you're like, yeah, but it sits in the parking garage like mine does. I hardly use my car for business anymore. Though I did drive out to an event last week in Scarborough. That trip was 100% tax deductible. Every time I drive to see my father, well, once a month, we drove to Woodstock this year. We usually go see my dad once a month in Woodstock. Guess what? Tax deductible or not? How many people think my trip to Woodstock to see my father's tax deductible? Anyone think it's tax deductible? 100% tax deductible. Deborah, every time you go see your daughter, it's tax deductible.
Oh, because she's a client now, yeah.
She's a client.
But she's moving home.
Well, let's just make sure you charge her rent.
She's becoming an employee, maybe.
There we go. Make sure she does her social media. Guess what? You must have been sneaking at my slide because that's coming up. My dad is a tax client. 2 weeks ago, we were out there with my dad and I sat down and did a cash flow planning. How many people would like a complimentary introduction to cash flow planning? Why cash flow planning is 10 times, 100 times better than budgeting. How many people love budgeting? All right, if you love budgeting, type in the comments budgeting. Okay, right now there's 35 comments in budgeting. How many people love budgeting? Oh, there's actually 36. Someone here actually loves budgeting. All right, that's fantastic. Oh, 38. I think either there, I should see the comments, but I have a screen share. Okay, so 2 people love budgeting. All right, how many people would like, 3 people love budgeting? Oh my God, more people love budgeting than I thought. How many people would like to see how cash flow planning works 10 times better than budgeting? And how I showed my father, my 83-year-old father 2 weeks ago, and we calculated we showed him what was a safe to spend amount. When you're safe to spend, you'll be safe to save. Deborah's shaking her head. She kind of knows the lingo. When you're safe to spend, you'll be safe to save. How many people would like a complimentary cash flow introduction to cash flow? It's another webinar I do. But I'm working on the month of December. I'm offering it as a complimentary thing to, I'm on a mission to get people understanding cash flow planning. We're already here. The whole thing is taxes. Taxes is the first step to cash flow planning. Is once I get my increase in my tax deduction, what do I do with it? Pay down debt. What do I do first? Student loan, credit card, mortgage? Not student loan. Student loan is tax deductible. All right. So car. So here's the quick thing. Car costs you about 10 grand a month, 10 grand a year. And if you had 3,000 of your 15,000, because guess what? 2 things you need to do. On January 1st, take a photo. If you don't know this, then I'll get you to type in your email address. I always tell my clients the 1st of January, take a photo of your odometer. Your odometer is the mileage on your car. 1st of January, take a photo. 1st of January next year, take a photo. The delta, the difference is how many total kilometers you drove during the year. I just did mine. I've actually still drove almost 15,000 kilometers this year. And then what's the business use? The business use, that percentage, that's tax deductible. So as I said, that's why I want to make every kilometer I drive tax deductible. I made my dad become a tax client. So every time I go visit my dad, I had to do a little bit of work. I work in his office. I work at my dad's every Thursday and Friday when we go out there. All right, home office, percentage of square foot or rooms, doesn't really matter. The big one is business travel. Who would like to be able to travel and make your travel tax deductible? 2 years ago, we went to England. I wrote off the whole airfare to England because I went to a 3-day conference. 3 years ago, we went to South Africa. A week in South Africa was all tax deductible because I went to see a business partner in South Africa, tax deductible. Who would like to go to Las Vegas, tax deductible? Where would you like to go? Better yet, forget about all those places. Where would you like to go? Where would you like to travel to? So just type in the city or the country that you want to travel to, and I'll show you how to make it tax deductible. All right, who's up for that challenge? Nick, you want to go to that challenge? Nick, where do you want to travel to? Type it in the chat. Or you can unmic yourself and you can yell it out. Hawaii? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to take your lovely wife? And your son, before your son graduates from high school?
Whitehorse.
Whitehorse. Go, you can go see the Northern Lights. Who wants to go see the Northern Lights?
We have friends up there and family.
Even better. Tax deductible. I'll show you how to make it tax deductible. All right, who's up for that? Anyone interested in making that tax deductible? And the biggest one, it's not even on the slide, it's my top secret one. Who loves education? Who are my lifetime learners in the room? Anyone love education, learning, more learning, another course, take another course? Personal development. Personal development. Who loves personal development? When you're self-employed, personal development's 100% tax deductible. When you go to university, you only get a 16% tax credit. You get an undergrad degree, you only get a 16% tax credit. Personal development is 100% tax deductible, as long as you can relate it to your business. I helped one of my clients, better stories. You guys relate more to stories, right? One of my clients, she lives in Vancouver. She works for the city. She's like a water treatment something specialist. Makes about $90,000 a year. 3 years ago, she went and she made an investment with Tony Robbins. How many people like Tony Robbins, love Tony Robbins? How many people would like to have their Tony Robbins experience tax deductible? Well, I helped my client write off $20,000 worth of Tony Robbins expenses against her income tax paid on her T4 job. And it triggered a $10,000 refund. Can I help you do that? Who would like me to help them do that? Just type in me. Me, please. We did it the second year. The best was the first year, she actually filed her taxes without me. We did it this next year, and we went back and we refiled. We resubmitted her 2018. We did a reassessment for her 2018. Took 3 months, but eventually she got her $10,000. And when after that happened, she got close to $20,000 in 2 years. She eventually did refer me to her mother, because her mother was a little skeptical. She's like, that's not true, that won't happen. But when she showed her the check, not the check, she just showed her her deposit from CRA, direct deposit into her bank account. Then her mom's like, ooh, can you introduce me to that tax accountant you have? And now her mom and her stepfather are tax clients, and her 2 friends are all tax clients. The best way is just help people, then they'll refer you. So basic exemption, really quick. This is more for someone's like making no money. So the basic exemption is now I gotta update my slide. It's been like 2 years now. The basic exemption is actually 13,000, and we showed you 4,000. So you can roughly make almost $20,000. I have a couple clients that make $20,000 and pay no income tax. After you get over the 20,000 mark, you're gonna have to start paying some income tax. But I have some clients like stay-at-home moms and stuff. They're earning like close to $20,000 and don't pay a nickel in income tax. All right, hope you like that. Okay, Nick. Nick's got a young teenage son. Someone else, Deborah, you said your daughter is going to move home. hire your kids. So here's a quick strategy about sports and college. How do you make college education tax deductible? How do you make their wedding tax deductible? I got to throw a big wedding. That's not tax deductible. You're right. The wedding actually is not tax deductible. What's the strategy? Okay, so here's it. So I actually have two sons. I have a 17-year-old and I have a 15-year-old. My 17-year-old is probably going to go to school. He's going to go to university probably next year. My 15-year-old, a couple years to go. So my 15-year-old is actually doing a media arts course this year in grade 10. So he's actually learning about like Photoshop and photography and all this kinds of stuff. So I could hire my 15-year-old son to do social media for me. They know more about Snapchat and not Snapchat. They know more about Instagram. They know more about TikTok than I do. I started posting again on Instagram. So I could hire my son. It has to be reasonable, right? You're not paying him like 10 grand a month, but I could pay him $1,000. He's under the age of 18. No EI, no CPP, and no income tax under the age of 18. No payroll taxes needed. I could pay him $1,000 a month. It's quite a lot, but I could. 12 grand a year. I do that for 2 years. He's just earned $24,000. He's in grade 10, so that's so grade 11, grade 12. When he gets to go to college, he's going to use that $24,000 that I paid him to pay for his own college. But me paying him the $12,000 to work in my business was tax deduction. So it's a two-step. Me paying the salary tax deductible, him using the salary to pay for his wedding or to pay for school gets a 16% tax credit, but the whole amount for me to pay him to use that money for college, that's tax deductible. How many just got an aha moment? Anyone is like, oh, I never even thought of it that way. Anyone aha moment? Worth the price of an hour of your lunchtime? Okay, so here's a quick summary. How are we doing? I always say I was gonna, oh good, I'm only 10-2. I'm gonna get right on time. Still have time for questions. Okay, and Joe's just showing up. And I gotta give away the prize, but I have to get back to the, I'll let people in and then I'll restate the prize. Okay, so great time. It's the best time. So many people, like, who was it? I can't see his picture, but he just started, he's a CPA, he's here. Don't assume that accountants all know about personal income tax. I didn't know a thing about personal income tax, other than I knew how to do my own tax return for 20 years. And I didn't claim any of this stuff. I'm like, oh, don't worry, I just didn't know. It's okay. I forgive myself. I forgive my younger self. And if you're in the room today, just say right now, just take a minute, we're gonna pause, and just forgive your younger self. You didn't know better. We didn't teach this in school. You didn't learn about this in school. You learned how to do quadratic equations. I have a degree in mathematics. I actually have 2 university level tax courses. They taught us about how to do corporate tax. You didn't want to do corporate tax. I didn't know any of this. So just forgive yourself. Just pat yourself on the back, give yourself a hug. Great timing. So many people, they're looking for extra money. You're already getting it. You're already paying it on your tax, on your job, on your pay stub. They take it at source. You're entitled to it. Just be reasonable. Expectation. There's a reasonable expectation that you're going to make some money in the future. Hire your family.
You want to come in?
Hire your neighbor. Hire your niece or nephew. Hire your grandchild if you have grandchildren. Hire me. My stuff's tax deductible. 1 second here. You can hire me. I'm tax deductible. All right, there's some background noise. I'm just gonna. All right, there we go. I'm usually pretty good. I don't have to do that. Okay, I'm not muted. You can still hear me. Okay, hire me. I'm tax deductible. For pretty much the price of paying for like quick tax, I'll do your tax return for you and it's tax deductible. And the key is working with someone like myself is we just help you get tracking all the deductions. And the difference between me, I think that's the end of my slide. 1 second. Yeah, that's it. Okay, let me go stop sharing. There, now I can see people if you're on camera. The difference between me and H&R Block is H&R Block are just tax preparers. They're lovely people. They just took a course and they just say, hey, show up with all your receipts and we'll just crunch the numbers. They won't ask you, hey, did you move this year? Are you a first-time home? Anyone just buy a home? Anyone first-time homeowners? In addition to your RSP, if you're a first-time homeowners, there's a $5,000 tax credit. I helped one of my clients. She's like, oh, we're first-time homeowners. Oh, that's fantastic. There's a $5,000 tax credit you can get as a first-time homeowners on your tax return. So if you're a first-time homeowner and you do your own taxes, I just saved you the tax credit. I just saved you 16% on $5,000. Thank you for showing up today. All right. Love education. So Alex loves education. Janelle said